I would like to challenge you.
Well, I'll use one at this conference on Friday from South Africa, which I use as a teaching story. That's reminded me.
From Milton Erickson.
Well, no. This is one from a story of when I didn't know what to do next, working with a very critical situation in South Africa, and I presented to groups and said, well, what would you do? Because I had no idea what to do.
Oh, wonderful.
And then I told them the story about what did transpire.
Yeah. Because we are here mainly a school.
Yes.
We train consultants, leaders, people in all roles in organizations, responsible roles. This is why I'm much interested how you organize consulting services like these from looking in the mirror. You said you have people with you. How do you train them? How is the organization within your consulting stuff? And how do you educate people that you can really work with them hand in hand and have a shared reality, so that the complexity of cooperation on your side is managed enough that you have really energy for the complexity of your customer.
This is, I think, a big challenge.
Right.
I think, going back to what I said about the future world, we probably need to move into a time. I'm doing this research for Henley Business School on tomorrow's leadership.
Right.
Not tomorrow's leaders, tomorrow's leadership. And today's leadership development. Because I'm concerned we are still training 20th century leaders, not 21st century leadership.
Right.
And we're interviewing CEOs, HR directors, millennial leaders, future leaders in 50 global companies. We're talking to thought leaders. We're looking at lots of data. And I think the days where we train coaches separately from organizational consultants, and those separate from people doing leadership development, are gone. I think the days when organizations have their coaching faculty, their leadership development, head of leadership development, head of consulting, head of change, are gone.
Right.
We have to bring coaching, consultancy, and leadership development together.
Right.
The best forms of leadership development. You know, I did some research with the whole of the UK civil service on how come they spent billions of pounds on leadership development across the public sector. And yet every government department in their 3-year review there was a weakness in senior leadership, even at the end of this period.
Right.
Why? Because the real challenges lay in working across boundaries, in collaboration. And what were they doing? They were taking very individualistic, introverted leaders and sending them off one by one to leadership training.
And how do you combine these perspectives in your own stuff? And how do you on your service bringer side manage to integrate these things? Because if you don't have them integrated, you are not in a good position to inspire organizations to integrate it.
So I think people have to kind of build up their skills. And I think you really learn to combine organizational change, culture change, team change, individual change, by working alongside others who are more experienced. It's an apprenticeship type model. So I did a lot of work with some of the big 4 professional services firms, and with one of them we did a massive global program in partner development. But this meant I could bring along teams where they would work in small groups with partners working on real issues,
right,
facilitating quite a complex bit of educational design, but then a more senior person would be managing the large group
who is able to integrate these perspectives.
Yes.
And what you're doing,
and gradually then the people who'd once they'd mastered the small group
Right.
enablement would do the large group, but with me there supporting them.
In your educational system, you represent the integration of these perspectives from the beginning.
Yes.
You do not first separate, train them in this or that, and then think about how to get.
Yeah.
That's the same we do. Whether our curriculum is called organizational coaching or organizational development, most of the perspectives are like this, and then you may have preferences, which roles you want to take. But certainly, for example, coaching as a perspective should be integrated in organizational development. It should not be, as we talked earlier, a setting of two people talking about individual questions.
So then I think we probably will, you and I will have to go further into, almost, it's very radical. One has to say, look, let's stop these trainings in coaching and OD
Right.
and let's have one, because I think and leadership development, let's ultimately realise we are all in the business of evolving human consciousness.
Absolutely.
And that the world cannot afford to evolve one person at a time.
Right. And
It's a nonsense, because that's not how consciousness evolves anyway.
and organizational culture.
Yeah.
In many levels.